Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another car video. The rise of Blerd culture. Yeah. You know what? All this stuff with Donald Glover, and then really before that with Issa Rae. You know, it's brought up a lot of discussion about self-described Blerds, which is a combination of black and nerds. You know, good and bad. You know, you have the male Blerds talking about how women ignored them, and of course the female Blerds are coming back talking about how the men ignored them. And you know what? This video ain't about all that. I don't really know, and to be honest, beyond some of my commentary on it, don't really care. So, but one thing I do care about, and I think that's very important that's happened, right? It is actually the whole Blerd thing, and it's been around for a while. It has always been something there if you know how to look. But it's actually really expanding the self-definition of just blacks and the image of blacks, the archetypes of blacks, right? Now, as people who might pay attention to some stuff I say outside of relationships, I always study like subcultures and stuff. I love it. Subcultures, countercultures, communities outside the mainstream, right? So, and one thing, you know, it's easy to study them in the white community, or, well, I'll just say the white community, mainstream community, because it's not even so much as more of them, but you know, it's very defined. And one thing I've peeped, they exist in the black community, but there's almost a thing, not just so much from the mainstream community, but within the black community itself, is of conforming, and just conforming to a narrow range of images, right? I mean, you already had it just historically in the black community. It's like you always had, you know, certain images of black men, either that simple-minded dude, or, you know, that black menacing black buck, with black women, you know, the Jezebel, the mammy. And to a great extent, those images, those archetypes have extended even into the present day. It just comes out in a different way. Even if you really watch TV, you can see certain tropes, certain images of black men and women. And even though you've had that nerd image in the media, for example, such as Stephen Urkel or Carlton Banks, right? You know, they were always seen, that image was always seen outside the mainstream of black America. But when you really look at it, and it's harder to tell in black America, like the different nuances, but it's always been there. Now it's becoming more public. And I think that's important because, you know, especially you got a lot of young black boys and girls who grow up feeling like they have to look a certain way or be a certain way, right? You have a lot of black boys feel like, well, you know, if I want to get women, I need to look more like a thug. Or I need to, look like a jock, or I need to have like a certain amount of cool. Which, you know, it's like, in many ways, that's kind of oppressive, because what if that person doesn't have, you know, the personalities for those things? Does that make him less valuable, you know? I mean, it's just as important. Maybe another image is just as important because it's free. Whatever it is, whatever someone's, you know, what they want to do, we have to be free just to live it, right? We have to be free if we want to walk around and, you know, our clothes ain't hanging off our ass or something like that, or we don't choose to wear earrings or something. We have to be free to do it, right? Like, I remember I had a friend of mine, he's a DC cop now, right? And I found out from his mother, some of his fellow officers thought something was wrong with him because he didn't wear earrings. It's like, come on, man, really? But it's, you know, it's one of those things. And I think this Blerd culture, it's a good thing. Now, the relationship part, I don't even want to get into all that. Right. Yeah. The cold's getting better, y'all. Cold's getting better. Anyway, right. I think it's important because it gives like black boys, black girls the freedom to be whatever they want to be. And in fact, I just recently got the Blu-ray of the Black Panther movie, and it was good at some of the commentary and everything, bonus features, and they were talking about, just showing these different images and everything. And I think that's just important overall. I mean, I think this Blerd thing, it's definitely not a fad. It's definitely not a fad. You've had people on this really for years, but maybe the mainstream media or can pick up on it, or even the black community, just the black community in itself, because of, like I said earlier, we have a big problem of trying to force someone into a certain image. We really do. We really do. I remember back in the day before we, you could just, back in the day, just before you could see, you could share pictures, or you had FaceTime or anything. You might meet somebody over the phone. And I remember through some way or another, I met this young lady just through phone contact. It's like it wasn't easy to like share pictures or anything, right? And I'll never forget, right? Now we vibing and everything, but then she was like, "Well, do you have any tattoos or earrings?" I was like, "No." And all of a sudden, I ain't hear from her anymore. I'm like, wow. So even though we were vibing, she was stuck in an image. Now, see, something like this Blerd thing, it actually frees everybody up, really. Not even just Blerds. It frees everybody to be whatever they're going to be within the black community. Right? I mean, it could probably, a lot of people need to be freed from wearing their pants off their ass. That'd be good. It frees, if it could create more of a diversity of images. And, you have many people, I mean, even now, you have many black kids who feel like, many black girls feel like, hey, I need to get that weave. I need to have a certain attitude to get the guys to pay attention to me. And, of course, we all know about guys feeling like they have to look a certain way to get a woman. And, it's like, nah, you know what? Someone can be who they are, and it's good, So, anyway, don't need to belabor that point and stuff. So, anyway, that's good. That's good for today. About to head to the gym, get my workout on. You know how I do. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.